Hi, my name is Alicia Castillo, and I've created a Fluency Instructional Unit for ETD 543. First, I'd like to talk about my students. I designed this unit for students entering second grade. Testing for the past 5 years has shown a consistent gap in fluency between where the students should be and where they actually were. 90% of my students are Caucasian, 5% are Latino, 5% are African American. About 58% of the students at my school receive free and reduced lunch. Our class sizes range between 20 and 30 students per class. About 1 in every 7 receive some type of special education service. And there are a handful of students that are diagnosed with autism, anxiety, ADHD, visual or auditory processing problems in each class. I first noticed fluency as a problem when we were looking at our school's dynamic indicators of basic early literacy skills, or DIBELS data. Our students did not score in the 80% core, 15% instructional, 5% intensive, response to intervention instructional model. The Common Core standard that we were looking at is RF 2.4, read with sufficient accuracy and fluency to support comprehension. Through this, you'll read grade level text with purpose and understanding. That grade level text you will read orally with accuracy, appropriate rate, and expression, and we're going to use the context to confirm or self-correct word recognition and understanding, rereading as necessary. When conducting my needs analysis, I found that students need to be fluent, accurate readers by the end of second grade. The root cause is the students' lack of practice. Fluency is achieved through practice, self-monitoring for comprehension, and by student buy-in that reading is necessary and achievable. The goals of the instructional training were to get at least 80% of my students to read fluently and on grade level. The information that was needed was what their current reading levels are. This was obtained by administering the Dibbles-Dorf test. I will train the students and parents how to utilize the websites during the first month of school. Students will be expected to choose digital reading during their read to self time at least 2 to 3 times per week for 30 minutes. The programs will be available to them online outside of school hours, so they may choose to work on these programs before and after school. They'll be expected to spend at least 20 minutes of their weekly computer time on these resources. The initial training will be delivered in the computer lab, where I will model how to use each resource while projecting it on the screen. Training would be revised after examining the data mid-year and at the conclusion of the year. The instructional strategies for my unit revolve around my website. Let me take you there now. So on my website, I have a page called Fluency Practice. That's where this unit will begin. The first thing that the students will be learning is Raz Kids. As part of Raz Kids, the students are given a login, and I can set books at their level, so the student is working between F and G. When he clicks on reading assignment, he will see it says there are 39 tasks left. Each book has 3 tasks. You can listen to the book first, so someone will read it fluently to you. After you're done listening to it, you can read it yourself. You also have the option of recording it while you're reading it. Then once you've completed that, you get to take a quiz, a comprehension quiz on what you just read. Once you're done with your quiz, you will earn stars. These stars will allow you to purchase things for your robot and your rocket. You can see that this student has purchased a cowboy hat, a mustache, a green shirt, rocket fingers, and some special kind of feet. For his rocket, he has purchased aliens, creatures, telescopes, plants, animals, things for his shelf, furniture. Particularly motivating is the motion button, which moves everything in motion, and the light, which you can turn on and off and see your glow-in-the-dark features. There's also a parent section, whereas one of parts of my unit, I will invite parents in, where I will show them how to log themselves in, and they can see how their student is doing on their comprehension and on their progress towards reading. The next part of the unit is MobiMax. Our school has purchased a subscription to MobiMax. In MobiMax, the kids will be able to log in, and they can read selections that are grade level selections, and take a short comprehension quiz on each selection. They have informational reading. It begins with a quick joke for the day. They have informational literature reading. They have a timer. The kids can earn games and badges. Let me show you a short story. So this student read, "I'm trying to eat." You can see it's a short little piece of reading. At the end is the comprehension quiz. So once she would be done taking the quiz, she would earn time for her games. The next part of the unit is the online stopwatch. The online stopwatch can be used because you're timing yourself. We want to get 87 words per minute. So the students can take a grade level reading selection and read it for 1 minute. You can set the countdown timer so you can put in 1 minute and then it will ding at you when the 1 minute is up. Or you can take your selection and do a stopwatch so you can read for however long it takes you to read and see how far you are in that one, or how far it takes you to read that time. They also have a chess timer, which I will have students reading the same selection and they can read it with a buddy who is also reading the same selection and see how long it takes them to read the selection. So reader 1 would read first, and then when they are done, they would switch to reader 2, and they would read second. It also has some classroom timers in case something is more motivating for students. They have an egg timer, a clock countdown. I find this is awesome for my reluctant readers. I have a student who loves to read Monster High books, and those aren't online. So she can come on here and choose maybe a running timer or a swimming timer or a snail racing timer and time herself reading her favorite type of book. After that, we have tumble books. And as part of our social studies unit, we visit the Bay County Library, and the students all get their own library card. With that library card comes a subscription to the tumble books. And tumble books has storybooks, chapter books, graphic novels, nonfiction. These are all books that are in print. So Diary of a Fly is a fairly popular book in my classroom. They can read it online. When they're done, they can play a game, and if your school subscribes to Accelerated Reader, it shows you the Accelerated Reader level as well. When reading a tumble book, you can let it read to you.
June 7th. Tomorrow is the first day of school. So nervous. What if I'm the only one who has regurgitated food?
You can also turn off the volume and turn it to manual and read it on your own. I recommend that the students hear it first and then read it themselves. After the kids are all done learning these and practicing them, I bring the parents in, and like I said, I show them how to help their student at home with their fluency. To implement this unit, first we will have weekly sessions in the computer lab that introduce the strategy and then practice the sessions 3 times a week. In the computer lab, they will have 32 computer stations, including the PC, the mouse, the headset with speakers. The teacher station is hooked to an Elmo projector. A screen slides down for when the teacher is projecting on it, and the room is also equipped with internet access. Like I said, I use the Weebly website to create my website that allows for easy navigation through the unit for the students, the parents, and any other teacher who would like to implement it. Someone walking in to teach this unit should check a few things before class begins. For example, they should check that the computers in the lab are working properly. Also, they should check to make sure that the links on the website are in order and that the Elmo screen and projector are working. Before beginning this unit, they should set the kids up in RazKids and MobiMax. And I also prepare a technology card with all the students' login information, and I make sure that they have an additional technology card to take home with them. Students will be graphing their progress so they can see it daily. For evaluation, my students will take the Dibbles-Dorf reading assessment. They're giving a starting point for graphing their fluency, and then at the end of the year, they're given another goal, the 87 words per minute. They will draw a line between the 2 points, and daily they will be graphing their fluency using various formats presented in the lessons. Also, at the end of each lesson, I will be asking the students and parents to fill out a survey about the session. Overall, my goal for devising this unit is to get students to become fluent readers. I also want them to be able to retell what they're reading. The Dibbles-Dorf test will assess this fluency in retelling. Students need to read 87 words per minute on grade level reading selections. Then they will have to have a retell score of at least 3 on this test. What I learned. First, I learned that this process is way more in-depth than simply creating a group of lesson plans. The ADDIE model has shown me that creating an instructional unit is a more deliberate way of looking at an objective, creating a path towards achieving it. I have to take into account the learner, facilitator, client, and instructional designer. When learning about objectives, I learned to consider the audience, behavior, condition, and degree. The ABCD format helped me to understand that defining the conditions of learning helps to clarify the context and framework with which will aid in my evaluation. I would like to say I also learned about Ganji's 9 events of instruction. New to me was the application feedback sections. Overall, I think that I picked up an additional hat to wear. I've always thought of myself as a teacher. Now I know that I can be considered an instructional designer. This unit has given me the confidence to pursue other opportunities in my professional career. Thanks!